I wonder, when was the last time that you saw something that truly filled you with awe? Might have been a beautiful cathedral, maybe it was a castle, a forest filled with very tall trees, or a really gorgeous sunset. Have a think back to that moment. How did you feel at the time? Because it turns out that majestic experiences like that are quite good for you. Psychology consultant and author, Dr. Jo Lukens, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
What do psychologists mean when they talk about awe?
Yeah, it's such an incredible experience, isn't it? And your description there, I'm sure, took everyone back to a moment that they've experienced. So when we talk about awe, it really is that jaw-dropping feeling that we get when we come across something that's vast and extraordinary and different to what we normally see in our world. And people often describe it almost like a mix of wonder and even a little bit of fear because of the enormity of whatever the thing might be. But what I love about those awe-inspiring experiences is it takes us away from ourselves and we see the world as a bigger picture.
And how does being in majestic environments affect our mental health?
This is the interesting thing, is that it's not just the experience of what we see or what we feel, but it's how it impacts our emotions on the inside. So when we're particularly in nature where there's big mountains or there's the coastlines, or like you said, you go into one of those beautiful cathedrals, people often leave those moments feeling calmer. Interestingly, people often feel more hopeful. And it almost, even though the space is so large, it helps us to feel more connected to other people. So it probably impacts our emotions more than we give it credit for.
Why is feeling small sometimes so good for us?
Yeah, and when we talk about feeling small, I love this because it's not about us feeling insignificant, but it's about realising we're part of something bigger. And nature, and particularly, gosh, don't we live in the state in the country, the beautiful Queensland, where there's so many awe-inspiring places that we can go to. So that notion that we are small as part of a bigger world, it does make us easier to focus on what really does matter and the beauty of those particular environments.
Yeah, sometimes our things and our issues can seem so big. It's good to get things in a bit of perspective, hey?
Yeah, you're literally seeing things that are bigger. Yeah, it does. In a really interesting way, it does help to give us perspective on the big things that maybe they are sometimes the smaller things.
Yeah. How can awe actually change how we behave towards other people as well?
Yeah, I think it can, and I think the reason that it does is that if you're on the Sunshine Coast walking down one of the beautiful beaches there, you get the sense it's not just for you, this is for all of us. And so it can bring us to more of a community feel and takes us from that sort of me to we. And there's been some really interesting research that shows that after people have been through awe experiences, you're more likely to help other people, you're more likely to be more generous, and you're more likely to be empathic and see something from someone else's point of view. So the changes that we can experience, again, I read some of that research and went, it makes sense now that I read it, but they weren't things I'd necessarily thought of before being aware of the research.
And I guess we've been talking about our mental health, but what does the research say about awe and our physical health?
Yeah, so we know that some of the research here looks at the impact it has on our physical health. If you have regular experiences, it can help with inflammation and some of our cardiovascular profiles. Now, of course, this is not medical advice, but it certainly is something that we know it has a little bit of a difference for people. But the other areas which I think is really helpful to think about is it seems to support better sleep and recovery, because what it does is it downshifts our stress response, makes us a little bit more relaxed, so then we sleep better. And couldn't we all do with sleeping a little better?
Absolutely. Feeling that on a Monday morning, Jo. I tell you what.
Yes, exactly.
And I guess we've talked about mountains and oceans and these big, beautiful places, but where can we find awe in everyday life if we can't get to the mountains or the reef?
Yeah, if we can't get to the mountains or the reef, and maybe not all of us are going there today, I know I'm not, but we can do things like we can look out of the window, we can step outside. So maybe there's a storm rolling in, maybe there's a big, powerful piece of music that you really love, or this afternoon maybe you can see the beautiful sunrise. So it's really just about pausing in the moment and noticing where you are. And I know where I am in Queensland today, it's big, beautiful blue skies with no clouds in it. So it would be a real shame if people haven't had a chance to look up into the sky and see how beautiful it is. So it's just finding it in the everyday moments. And then, of course, maybe on a weekend or on a holiday we can travel a little bit further or go to another environment for those awe-inspiring experiences.
Yeah, really important to be able to find them in the everyday as well. That's great advice. And Dr. Jo, you've mentioned that awe can even change our selfies. I've got to ask about this. What's going on there?
I know. It's the strangest piece of advice, isn't it? So there was some research. I don't even know what made the researchers think to look at it. So that they were certainly asking the curious question. But there was one particular study that looked at people who had just had awe-inspiring experiences. And it didn't matter whether it was in nature. I think some of them, they actually had them in a large cathedral. So it could be in built environments and so forth. But then they actually looked at the photos that they took afterwards compared to the photos they had taken before. And would you believe it, but their smiles were broader and they were more likely to take in more of the world around them. So it seems that even in our me-obsessed world where people are taking selfies, the built environment continues to bring more joy from us.
Ah, beautiful. The inspiration we need on a Monday morning to get outside and find some
Get
awe.
outside, yes. Sounds like my parenting advice too. Get outside.
Get away from the screens, go and find something awe-inspiring to look at.
Go and look at the big screen, not the small screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Jo Lukens, thank you so much for the chat this morning. This is a beautiful way to start the week.
Thank you, Sarah.
Psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens there on ABC Radio Queensland.